Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the UR Pod Usage Rate. We're going to be doing some Supercoach work again today with Mr. Baz. How are we, mate?
Yeah, usually I'm going well and being good, but today I'm going well and being very nervous watching the Jackies just play then against New Zealand.
Pretty good, weren't they?
So they were good, but got a little bit tight and I got a little bit nervous, but all's well that ends well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's points on the board. Another 5 points on their ladder tally for the Blitz, which is pretty handy. So before we get into it, just want to give a quick shout out to our Supercoach sponsor, Gibber's Hot Sauce. So Gibber has given us a discount code for 15% off with it being UR15. So if you want to get your hands on some of the best hot sauce in the country, they've even got some high quality merch as well. Head over to his Instagram page and that'll take you to his website. So make sure you go and check that out. He's also offered up a $250 prize pack for the winner of Supercoach League. So we have just opened an unlimited league. So we can have as many people in that as want to join. So the code for that one is 248705. 248705. So see if they can knock you off your perch, mate.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds good. Good luck to them.
Yeah, we've also got the tipping comp, which is starting to get a few more people on. So that's via the link tree on the Instagram page. And this is the prize right here, signed Jack McVeigh jersey. And he's been looking pretty good, the smiling assassin, through the Blitz so far, mate.
He's got a new foul shot routine as well.
Does he?
And lives up to his name. Lives up to his name of the smiling assassin. He has a bit of a smile beforehand, goes and knocks them home. I like it.
Real good boy basketball energies.
Yeah, you're a great man.
Righto. So we're going to go over a few different things today, mate. We're going to start off with our guns so far. So the hustling heroes, blokes that have been
the hustling heroes
dominating the Blitz. Who have you got?
I've got a guy, and it's probably going to be on everyone's list, everyone's radar. And if they're interested in NBL Supercoach and they have not considered him, it's got to be Tyler Cook from Southeast Melbourne. I listened to your podcast earlier today. You mentioned that you guys think he's playing for a contract. So at the moment, it looks that way, and he's putting up some great numbers. He put up a score of 48 with a 29-9 game. So if he can sneak one more rebound in there and finish off with a game of 29-10, he's looking at a score of 54, which would be up there with one of the top points for the Blitz so far. So Tyler Cook, he can be your centre or he can be your forward. I currently have 4 imports on my starting lineup. So if you're going with a similar strategy to me, you've got the opportunity to get him. And at 277 with their break even of 24, he looks like getting the cash early. So if he starts well, goes up in price, you can, if they Southeast Melbourne, whatever they decide to do with him, they decide to keep him, you got yourself a really good pick. If not, I'm sure he's going to be picked up somewhere else and put up as many points and boards elsewhere. So Tyler Cook's my hustling hero, or one of mine, which I'm pretty happy with.
Yep. So you're definitely starting with him with that dominant early fixture.
Yeah, definitely starting with him. Yep.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys I haven't changed in the past 3 days since we last spoke. He's been locked on, so I'm happy with Tyler Cook.
Yep. Yeah, he's been awesome, hasn't he? I'll be very interested to see what he can do if they play Mitch Creek in their third game. See how those two sort of fit together. I don't think it'll probably drop his numbers too much. Maybe his points output a little bit. But yeah, he's been awesome. And I like what you said about the flexibility between the forward and the centre spot for him. I think that's really important, that flexibility aspect of putting your team together. Who else you
Yeah,
got?
and I've also got the Tassie local. We've been hot on this guy since we heard that he signed, or since he was interested in coming into the league. We were very excited, and if you watched his game, he was phenomenal.
Mm.
Taron Armstrong,
Oh,
he was
yep,
very very good.
yep.
Um, so I enjoyed watching him play. He just controlled the pace of the game. He had 7 assists, which is huge.
Mm.
He had 8 boards for a guard. He didn't get the points. He only had 4 points, which isn't many, but he's going to get a triple double at some stage. And he's always going to be
Mm.
hovering around that double double mark. So the 69K, I really like the look of Taron.
Yep.
Obviously, we spoke about last week with the fixture, so it depends when you decide to bring him in. If you decide to start with him, I wouldn't blame you.
Mm.
Um, but obviously, you just know that he's not going to be playing for a few weeks early on.
Yep. Yep. Like it when you said uh local Tassie boy and's coming to the league straight away. I thought you were going to say Jordan Crawford, even though he's obviously not a local. But he's excited me that much.
Well, talk about him later because he's on another list of mine.
Okay, right. So who's your third hustling hero?
My third hustling hero was the only person that I thought showed a bit of heart in the Adelaide game,
Hmm.
and that was Big Isaac Humphries. He's priced at 251, which is cheaper than the import by 20K. So if you're looking to maybe upgrade at the other positions or be able to afford a player in the 400K area, Humphries is one step I think you can go to being able to do that.
Yep.
He had a really good game, 22 points, 7 boards, um, 2 assists and 1 steal. The only negative is he didn't have a block, but also low turnovers as well. So he had a score first up at 34, which I think is great, and especially around that 251. I think he's going to start in that centre position and obviously hold that down. Him and Wiley are probably the two that are going to work together there in those power forward centre spots. So the minutes are definitely there for him, and he definitely looked passionate and looked like he really wanted to be out there for Adelaide. So threw down some nice dunks too. So Isaac Humphries, he's my third hustling hero.
Yeah, I really liked his game as well. Yeah, I agree with you. I think he was probably the only Adelaide guy to show a little bit of heart out there. And they're on tonight as well. So um, as we speak, let's have a quick look. Oh Jesus, Adelaide are down 23-2. Holy shit.
Did Humphries get the 2 points for us?
Oh, it's 22-4 now. Yeah, and Humphrey's got the 2 points. What the hell?
Oh,
That's
well,
unbelievable. And Pinder is owning him. 9 points, 2 assists, 2 steals at the moment. What the hell? I called it episode one. Or episode one was the intros, and that was pretty humorous for people that are not basketball fans. Just wanted to have a bit of a laugh. But the next episode, the Adelaide preview, straight up, I said Adelaide were going to finish last, and I watched them play for a few minutes the other day, 3-4 minutes, and I still it was enough. Jesus.
I reckon by the sounds of it, most other people have probably watched for 3-4 minutes tonight too.
Yeah. Jeez, the ratings are down tonight, I reckon. What the hell? That's unbelievable. Right, I'll go over my heroes. So I've got a little bit of a different tact to you. I've sort of gone a couple of guys that perhaps we didn't expect. Or all three of them we probably didn't expect, but one of them is a lot more of an established player. So I've gone with Kyron Galloway. No, I haven't. I've gone with Jalen Galloway from Sydney. So priced at 124. He's a forward, and he rocked out with 38 points in 25 minutes, 18 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 1 turnover. His slashing ability is unreal. I think he's a guy that just fits that system so well. His instincts on defense are elite. He played some summer league minutes with Minnesota, and if he continues to play like he did last night, then I can't see why he can't make his way to take that jump to the NBA. He impressed me that much. And as I said, only priced at 124. So some of the other guys that we're sort of looking at around that sort of range, I think that with his early form and the way that he let the game come to him were unreal.
Yeah. Do you think obviously with his stat line, he may not average those 18 points, but he's probably going to hover around those 5 assists, 5 rebounds sort of area. May not average that 3 steals, but might get you to a game, or also have a game where he gets a high number of steals. And he's probably going to be a low turnover guy. So yeah, I reckon that's a great pick. I like that, and I think he's in for a massive year.
Yeah, I think he can probably average 10 points. Yep, the 5 boards, maybe 2 assists. So you'd be looking at 15, 19 points there. I think steals and blocks combined, probably 2. So 25 and a turnover. You're looking at 23 points a game from those predictions, which is nothing to laugh at for that price.
No, I wouldn't be laughing at all. I reckon that's a great price for him.
I'll give him a next one. I've changed this one up. I've gone with Ben Ayre from Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. He's just a confidence guy. He has that much swagger. The game that he played for Cairns last year, his style was that again with some additional swag. So yeah, he really impressed me. So he had 13 in the first game, which is not great, but priced at 108. But then the other game he had 24. So you'd be thinking somewhere in between there. But yeah, he really impressed me. I think at that 108 price, if anyone's looking at those guys, sort of like your next sort of guys, I think his production will be pretty similar to some of them in the guard spot. And he's priced at that $7,000 cheaper, which you can obviously every dollar is vital. And their guard rotation's pretty thin, so he's going to get opportunity.
And he's going to get hot for a game. He's going to get Jibba's hot sauce hot for a game.
Yes.
And absolutely turn it on, isn't he? And if you can do that in the first 3 games, you're going to see that break even drop dramatically. You could go up in price really quickly. So, I think that's a good pick. You get also favourable schedule with Southeast Melbourne. So, yeah, if he can have a nice game in one of those first 5, you can certainly see him go up. And I think you're right, they're thin on the guard, and he brings that 3-point shooting. So that's always something that teams are looking for. So, yeah, I agree with the Ben Ayre pick. I quite like him.
It'll be interesting to see what sort of rotation they go with when Matt Kenyon's back, though, for mine. If they want to start with that defensive sort of aspect, and then Ben Ayre will sort of come off the bench, and Kapow, maybe his numbers could be a little bit above that average at the moment. Like I said, the 5 games early, same as Sydney. So pretty high on those couple of guys. My other one also plays 5 games in the first 3 rounds. From Melbourne, priced at $255, is Delhi.
Ooh.
He has shot the piss out of it. He had 28, 3, 2, 1, and 3 turnovers for a total of 32 in the first game. And then in the second game, had 20 points, 5, 3, a block, and no turnovers for 34 points. So an average of 33. He's priced at 226. But coming on as in the second unit, he played 19 minutes in the first one, 22 minutes in the second one, and he's scoring in the 30s. Can you do it? He's, what did I say, 255. So he's 22K less than the import. And his scoring's better than some of those guys. His jump shot looks better.
His jump shot looks faster.
I'll
probably owe him an apology because I had him on my do not touch list, so I'll probably owe him an apology. And I know he's probably listening out there as well. So I just loving what he's doing in those first preseason games. Probably the big difference is that you look at him coming in as the 6th man. He's not playing against the starters. So that obviously might happen from time to time, but it means that he's probably playing against some of those younger players, and he's definitely got the experience. So I'm intrigued. I'm still not picking him, but yeah, he's definitely owed an apology for how he started.
Yeah, I probably won't start with him either, but geez, I'm impressed. I'm teetering, Barry. That 22K could come in handy, as I said, with Ben Ayre 7K. There's an extra 29. No, that's not right. Extra 31K that you could be putting somewhere else. Did I say 7K or 9K for air? 7K. Yeah, so
Yeah, a bit of
29,000.
Moneyball going on here.
Yeah, good film. 29,000 that you could be putting somewhere else.
Which could be handy.
Definitely. All righty. So there's the hustling heroes. So Jalen Galloway, Ben Air, Delhi for me, and your three.
Tyler Cook, Taron Armstrong, and Isaac Humphries.
Love it. On next. So our guys that aren't performing so well. The Brick Boys.
The Brick Boys, the Brickies, the Brickies.
I've
been called a brick. Yeah, I've been called a Brickie a few times this year in Thursday basketball, and rightfully so.
So demoralising, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, it's a bad shot when it hits the backboard and hits the shot clock in the same thing. That's what a few of these guys are doing at the moment. That's what a few of these blokes that we're about to talk about are.
Who you got?
I want to start with the Brickie, Trenton Flowers. I came with that last time.
Yeah.
With the report that ESPN had released about the point guard situation around him, and they absolutely nailed it in that first game. Parker Jackson was elite at defending him up the court, and he really struggled. They did move him to a wing a little bit later. They got some other guys to bring the ball up, and he actually looked all right. But, yeah, for me, I'm currently trading him out. I'm not touching him. And if you look at the moment, through the first quarter, he's put up a donut across the board. So
is that a turnover and a foul?
I reckon, yeah, so he's on -2. So not a good start for him, unfortunately. I think that they'll end up moving him to a forward, and they'll probably end up shuffling Kadee into that starting lineup. So that's my prediction. But
right now,
yeah, at the moment he's my Brickie.
Yep, yeah, I've got him too. He's stunk. Straight to Ben Air, mate. Who else you got?
Straight to Ben Air. I've got another one which we kind of discussed last week. Definitely want to watch and see what he can do. But that was Jonah Bolden from Sydney. Probably a few alarm bells there. First alarm bell was he didn't start. He played behind Hunter. Whether they're just trying to work him in and get his legs. I don't want to spend 232K on someone who's going to find their legs in the first few rounds. I also think there's a lot of mouths to feed at Sydney. Adams, Valentine, and Hogue. You had Galloway in there as well. Like, there's a lot of guys that can score. There's a lot of guys that can get boards. So they're going to be in no rush to get Bolden into the team. So he's my Brickie at the moment. I think priced at 232. I think you can definitely get better elsewhere. I guess we mentioned Humphries earlier. Yeah, he's a little bit more expensive, but he's doing a lot more for that price. So
what did you say?
Jordan Bolden.
251.
251.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, these savings, they all add up. Import to Delhi.
But I'm not
next door to Air.
But I'm not spending. I can't do it. I can't spend 232 on a bloke that he's not coming out and playing at least 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah. Mate, I'm telling you though. Next star to Air, import to Delhi, and old mate Bolden to Humper.
Could happen, mate. Could happen.
Where the magic happens. Who else you
Could
got?
happen. And my last one, and this is solely from a fantasy perspective. This is not from his impact on a game. So I think he's a fantastic player, and I think he's going to win them some games. But I just don't think he does anything outside of score. And that is Chris Goulding. So they priced at 262. In his first game, he didn't score, which is very unlikely, but he put up a 2.
Yeah.
So he had 2 fantasy points, and in his second game, he got going a little bit. He had 14, but he ended up on a score of 21. So not the worst there, but I just think he's on court scoring and impact is going to be a lot more than his fantasy. If he doesn't score, if he puts up a 10 points or hits a few threes, I don't think he's going to contribute in the other categories enough, especially with guys like Illy, Luke Travers.
Delhi.
yeah, Delhi. I just don't think that there's quite going to be those other stats available for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Do you reckon that second game would be a better reflection of where he's probably going to score, do you think?
Yeah, well, he can certainly, he can certainly average around those 15 points. The interesting thing in that second one is that he got 2 blocks and a steal, so he's got his hands in the cookie. Yeah, no, he's got his hands in the cookie jar there. But yeah, I just reckon he's a scorer, and scorers tend not to be the best fantasy options. You're looking for a big spread.
Yeah, definitely. I think you mentioned that in the last episode around trying to find guys who are going to do more than just one thing. So yeah, he'd be a pretty ordinary pick, wouldn't he?
Yeah, good player though, very good player.
Oh yeah, real good player.
You got some
he would have been
brickies?
really good a few years ago, I would imagine, when he was really putting up some buckets.
He can get them.
Yeah. Righto. So
what
I
about your
Trent
brickies?
Flowers as well, Balby, as I call him now, because he hasn't taken off. He's still stuck in the soil, old Flower man. This one, I'd be surprised if many people were looking at him. I certainly wasn't, but really, really ordinary for the price tag of 232, which was a few of the guys have been around that sort of range. Was Reece Vague, the Vanilla Gorilla from Southeast Melbourne. So in the first game, 6 points, and in the second game, 7 points. So he scored 13 total points, and he's priced at 232, which I think is just a little bit embarrassing personally. But anyway, is what it is. That's what Ben Ayre scored in one game. So get up there.
You hold on Benny Ayre, and I like it. It's good.
Mate, the NBA have Air Jordan. We have Air Ben.
I love that one.
Yeah, so Reece Vague, do not even look at him. If you've got him in your team, let's have a quick look at the percentages. Will take me a little bit. So while I'm looking for it, my other one was Jamal Franklin from Adelaide, which we spoke a little bit about around how he could potentially fit. And you said you don't know him personally, which was a bit disappointing. But his attitude doesn't probably look like it's going to be super duper awesome. He looked like he had the bottom lip down for a while. He's got 9 points, which for an import is pretty ordinary. As we speak right now in this game, he's got
He's
only played 4 minutes. He's had an assist and 2 turnovers, so he's on -2. So if you were looking at his Philippine numbers, he was unbelievable video game, but his NBL Blitz numbers have been extremely short of where they would like them to be, I would imagine. So can see him being released pretty early in Adelaide, trying to pick something else up. So if you got him, scrap him. Yep, that's me 3 brickies. So Flowers, Vague, and Franklin.
Yeah, not bad. I definitely on my not on my team, and definitely watching them closely, and hopefully we see a bit of improvement.
Yeah.
Speaking
of keeping an eye on people closely, we'll move on to the scouting report. So
the scouting
just some
report's
people that
interesting.
we need to see a bit more from before we fully make the mind up on these guys. Who you got?
On my first one, I do think that he's going to be thereabouts at 69K for Josh Bannon.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be a really nice pick. 10 boards is a great number. And especially with Bainesy out there getting 9 boards, for him still to be able to do that, it's pretty awesome. If he gets 4 more points, he ends up with a double-double and ends up with a nice-looking score. He got 24. You add those 4 points, 28. You add the 5 for the double-double. He ends up on 33, which is fantastic for the player price at 69K. So if he can do that in at least the first few games, I'll be happy with that. But I'm happy to sit him on my bench and just watch the money pile up. But yeah, just keep an eye on him. He's definitely worth a look on your bench, I think.
Yeah, for sure. He really impressed me as well, but very hard to tell from a guy at that price from one game as well. And Tyrell Harrison didn't play in that first game either, so he'll chew some of those minutes up. But having the starting spot is obviously really positive. I think he's looking like a really good pick still at this stage.
Yeah, I think Brisbane, because I think they're going to transition into a bit of a new identity, and they obviously were a bust last year as a team. And I think they're going to experiment. They've got the new coach, and I think there's going to be opportunities there for guys. So it even means like you can pretty much put a fair few blokes on the watch list from Brisbane if you want. You could have Bannon, you can have Isaac White, you can keep an eye on Norton, Zakarski, Johns, who's 59k, saw 5 minutes. So they had a nice spread of players out there. So yeah, there's about 4 or 5 guys from Brisbane to keep an eye on and just see who's getting the minutes at the right time.
Yeah.
My second watch this one is he's on my scouting reports. One, he's exciting to watch, and 2, he's a jack jumper, and 3, I just love it when he shoots the ball. I just hope every time he shoots it, it goes in. I just love it. He takes good shots.
That happens for all the Jackies players. They never miss a shot for the whole season.
Yeah, but I just reckon he's great. I love watching him, and I love watching him just then. In the Scott Roth presser, he said that he's going to try and integrate those imports in there a little bit more. He's going to give more opportunity, and he ended up scoring 18 points, 5 and 6. Ended up with a score of 36, which I think is probably going to be a bit more realistic for where he's at. I think that him and Parker Jackson are 2 guys that are very similar, and I've watched 2 games now. Parker Jackson, and if you do not have someone that can stay in front of him, you're going to have a horrendous time.
So quick,
he didn't play. Yeah, he didn't play in the fourth quarter today, or if he did, it was very limited. So he even still got a nice score today without them. He's going to play in the fourth in the regular season. So they're 2 guys I like in the backcourt. And as I said, you can have 4 imports on your starting lineup, and those 2 could be 2 which would be both have potential to put up some really big numbers.
Yep. So Parker Jackson Cartwright's your man.
Yeah, and Jordan Crawford. Jordan Crawford's my man.
That's where I thought you were going with it, but then you started talking about PJC.
I was just enjoying the commentary, and I was just enjoying watching them both play, and it was just a good game. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I saw from both of them. So
are they both
I am
on the
going with
scouting
Crawford.
report?
No. I've got Josh Bannon on my scouting report.
Yes.
I've got Crawford on my scouting report. So I tacked in with I was just watching the game, and then
wait, you've thrown an extra person in there.
No, I haven't, and now I've got my third. Now I've got my third. No, he's kind of like 2.5. So if you watched the last game, you would have seen him. So he falls in there.
Kids.
It is, but
anyway, tell me who you've got. Who's your fourth?
Who my third one is? You've rattled me now. Okay, here's my fourth one. Froling from the Hawks.
Samson.
Froling. Yeah, no, not Samson. But yeah, big old Froling. He had a nice game. He had 6 and 10. He falls into kind of that Bannon category as well. If they end up getting their score up to a double-double, it's going to be a nice look. They ran a lot of pick and roll with him, and he's obviously one of their main pieces. So I really liked his game. He is a little bit more expensive, so I know you don't like this. I know you don't like
more expensive.
Yeah, I know you don't like them when they're a little bit more expensive, but I thought that he's definitely a player that can be a nice little double-double threat throughout. So any player that it's a double-double threat is always a little bit on my radar. So that's why I've gone with him. So just keep an eye on him. If he puts up the double-doubles, he's going to put up some big numbers.
Yeah. Question for you. 259.
Yep.
Sorry, not 259. 320 for him. Or do you save yourself 69,000 and get Humper?
You could. And certainly you're probably going to get similar point output. I guess it probably depends on a little bit of the schedule. If Froling plays an extra game, then you could see that extra game being the extra value.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably going to get the money, which is probably going to be a bit of insurance where you're probably going to get a bit more consistency out of Froling. But he's only on the scouting report. He's my fourth guy on the scouting report.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously watch his space. But yeah, he could definitely be someone that you could include. He could be an upgrade from Tyler Cook later.
Yep.
So he's definitely an option out there.
Yep.
How many do you have in the scouting report?
I've only got 3, mate.
How many do you have?
I've only got
Yeah, I
three,
got 3.
but I'm just going to touch on your last one. So, just from the question I asked you, Illawarra got 1 game, 2 games. Adelaide 2-2-1. Probably answers it for me. Anyway, I'm just going to flash back to my last brick boy, Reece Fay. 79 people own him. By the end of tomorrow, I want that number to be 0. If you've got him in your team, you may as well just delete your team. I reckon that's him. You can't have him. That's embarrassing.
Some people end up clicking on autofill. Maybe 79 people hit autofill.
Just don't.
Maybe 78. Maybe he's got himself in his own team.
Interesting. I bet you those are the people that are still writing the letter U instead of YOU in text messages. They're saving time. Anyway, on to my scouting report. I've got Gary Clark from Illawarra. I didn't mind his game, but he only had the 5 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, 4 steals, and 2 turnovers for 20 points, which 20 points doesn't seem too bad. He was their second highest scorer, and he only actually scored 5 points. So that's an interesting one. Obviously, the steals are really impressive, which you would assume that would drop, but he would pick that up from the points market. So his 20 points enough for an import at 277? Probably not. So I'll be keeping an eye on him for the next couple of games. Although I don't like their schedule. But one to watch for later in the season. I've got Bobby Clintman from Cairns. He really impressed me. He had, in 20 minutes, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. Had the 4 turnovers, though, which hurts you. But new to the league, very, very young guy. Had the 24 points at 115. So, 162,000 cheaper than Clark, and outscored him by 4.
Ooh. But do you know why he scored so well? Why he got those 14 points?
As in, why
14 real points? Just because
not super coaches.
Well,
he did a bit of everything really. He was aggressive, looking for a shot. He cut really well off the ball. He got a couple of cheapies, like backdoors. He was pretty aggressive going to the hoop as well. Seemed to be really confident in his offensive game, and he's obviously got the license to do that as well. Adam Ford's going to be a coach that's going to give guys a license, and then coach them through their mistakes. Really interesting on the commentary, they were talking about, he spoke to the team before the game about Bryce Cotton kicking his legs out, and then he ended up getting fouled on 4 3-point shots. And after the game, he said he was really glad to see it happen, because then he could show the players the vision and actually coach that. So he's a guy that he's not afraid for players to make mistakes. So I think Clipman could be a really, really good pick. But I want to see a little bit more of him. Obviously, 1 game, hard to tell. And the other one I had was Denzel Valentine. Obviously, another import at 277. He scored 32 points. He had 8 turnovers, which is huge. He scored 17 points, which was the second highest behind Jalen Galloway at 18. But when Adams and Hogue come back, does he still have that lead offensive role? Probably not, I wouldn't have thought. So I'll be interested to see that, and see if those guys actually get a run through the Blitz. If they don't, I probably can't pick him.
I've picked him, and I saw some good things from him in that game. He got a lot of those 17 points late, Definitely those 2 threes in the last little bit helped his game. But yeah, probably the turnovers a big bit, but the guy's not going to average 8 turnovers. So maybe he was a bit too casual. Maybe he wasn't ready for the intensity, which is the NBL. So maybe that caught him a bit off guard.
Yeah, I didn't think his
I'm on
handle
him.
was that good. You're on him. I'm off him at this stage, but he's a watch for a reason. All right,
fair enough.
Move on to our last little segment and the questionos. So we've had a few questions come in from the Instagram, which is always good. Love helping people out with this. Well, let me scroll down. I've got to keep going down a little bit. So the first question was around Bryce Cotton. Is Cotton worth it? Or should the cash be distributed over a couple of mid-tier players?
Yeah, it's a great question. I have done a little bit of research in this. So Cotton at the moment is on a tear and playing really well. So he's had a 50-point game, a 64-point game, and a 35-point game. He's also had 27 and 22. So he's putting up numbers. I think he is going to be in our top 3-point scorers at the end of the season, provided he doesn't get injured. So you definitely, if you want to, you're going to have him at some stage. It just depends when you get him.
Yeah.
A few options, I guess. If you go with him starting, your other players that are in your guard spots essentially are going to be under 130K. So if you can get those players that are going to play really well and get you scores around the 20 mark, which is going to be pretty good. I had people like Sean McDonald in his first game, he got 23, but then you look at his second game, he got 10. So you're going to have a guy on your court next to Cotton that's priced at 129 that's going to be inconsistent. So they could get you a score of 20, which will definitely justify the Bryce Cotton price. But if they get you a score of 5 or 6, you're definitely relying heavily on Bryce Cotton having a good game. So a few options. You can have, Cotton at 466 and a guard under 130K next to him. Alternatively, you can go with 2 imports, or you can have two imports for 277, and then you're looking at essentially the same price there. So the question lies with, would you rather have Cotton, who's going to be a top scorer, you can put your captaincy on him, and he can put out some good scores, with a player that's a little bit unreliable, or do you take 2 imports who could both potentially score the same as Cotton and have some really good games? So what I kind of worked out was that Cotton's played 5 games so far, bit of a spread. It's obviously hard because there's a bit of preseason and a bit of blitz in there. Yeah, but he ends up with a total score from those 5 games of 198. So if he did that
just under
at the start of the regular season, so if he does that in the regular season, he would drop in price. So they do that in the first few games. They play 5 games, I think, in the first 3.
2-1-2.
So if he does that, he'll drop in price heading into that fourth round. Whereas your imports that you get could have a favourable schedule and could go up in price as well, and you might be able to meet halfway there later on in the season. So I guess with Bryce Cotton, I'm going with the 2 imports instead. I do really like him, and I would not blame anyone for picking him up and just putting the captaincy on him and letting the points ride. But yeah, I'm going with the 2 imports, just because I think that they could potentially have games similar to Cotton. And also if Cotton has one bad game, then his price is going to drop dramatically.
Yeah. Don't mind it. Yeah, good analysis. Something I'm considering doing is having him to start for his 2 games and then trading him after round 1. Chuck the captaincy on him for round 1 and then trade him down to like Jalen Adams, who's got 2 games in the second round, and then use that 100 odd K to fix something up if I need to.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout because I'm looking at my team and there's not a lot of guys that I want to trade out. So I probably won't be getting him early. If I decide not to start with him, I probably won't be getting him till a lot later. And maybe by then the damage will be done. Or maybe by then he might be a price that I can afford. So it's a tough one. Like, do you take him at 466 and you might trade him out after the first 2 rounds? Or do you keep him? Do you go to other guards? It's a tough choice because no one knows. He could go up in price. He could end up 550k and be impossible to get. Also, he could come down to 400k and be very gettable for everyone. So it's going to be a real watch this space.
Yeah, it's a real decision, that one. It's probably the hardest decision, I reckon. Anyway, so that one actually came from my wife, Bronte. I think she's just seen the most expensive player and heard us talking at some point and wonders if it's worth it. So, but a good question. I reckon a lot of people probably want to know that. This one's from Sam. Love it from Sam. I've got one word for you. Dellavedova. On you, Sam. Not really a question, but I love it. We're big on him. Respect the Cavs champion. This one comes from Tom. Tom says, should I be worried about Valentine's 8 turnovers, which we've already touched on? But a quick summary.
He's not going to average 8 turnovers when the regular season starts. He might hover around 2 or 3, but he's definitely not getting 8. And that minus 16 is actually huge. The guys that have got 2 or 3 turnovers, if they've got more than that, they're getting 4 or 5. You just see the score drop dramatically. Regardless of what else they've done, they haven't been able to put up a good score.
Yep. We'll have a couple more. One thing, I'll add one thing actually first with that. Valentine's 8 turnovers will definitely drop, which I also think will come from his drop in usage rate. And then I think some of his other things will drop as well, his points and assists too. So you lose the negatives, but I think you also lose the positives. I think his score will dip a little bit from that performance last night. This one comes from Lockie. Will Tyler Cook's production drop when Mitch Creek takes the court?
I think that he's still going to put up numbers. I think that Mitch Creek might help him out a little bit, and also playing in that 4-5 position with him, he might open him up for more lobs, more points in the paint. He might free him up a little bit. I think that when you play with good players, he may not have as big a usage rate, but the guy's playing for a contract. He's going to put up those stats. So while Alan Williams is gone, ride the hot hand with Tyler Cook.
Yeah, agreed. I think he's must-have to start from what he's done so far. All right, mate. We'll leave it there, and we're going to do the next episode on Sunday once you get back from Melbourne.
Once I get home from hopefully getting tickets to the Pies and Giants game.
So Derry's in Brisbane, you're in Melbourne, and I'll just be sitting here doing analysis to help everyone win a car, hopefully. So again, thanks to Gibber, UR15. Get on the website. Supercoach code 248705 for the $250 prize pack, and the tipping comp via the link tree on Instagram. Sign Jack McVeigh jersey for that one. And we'll see you all in a few days' time. Thanks, Baz.
Bye for now.